I come to devour. You will know the day, you will know the hour. I'm gonna give Pereira a golden shower. I'm not just gonna win, I'm gonna piss on him. I'm gonna shama on your mama. This guy's the baddest man on the planet. Look how I speak to him. Like my dog, like my bitch. Fuck you.
Então,
What you gonna do?
Então, Potter, vou traduzir o
You
poema.
ain't gonna do shit.
Ele diz:
Ilia Topuria,
Take him out. Take him out.
And you
Get
shouldn't
out of-
find your wife in Miami.
Get out.
If I find you too.
Bye, you little pussy.
Imagine a UFC press conference unraveling before your eyes, with fighters arranged across the stage, champions and contenders all vying for camera time, building anticipation for their upcoming clashes. You expect heated exchanges, psychological warfare, maybe some intense face-offs. But what happens when someone hijacks the entire event? Not to promote their scheduled fight, but to wage war against two of the organization's biggest stars, turning a routine media session into an unprecedented showcase of chaos and tactical genius. This goes beyond fighting. This is pure theater, psychological warfare, and one of the most spectacular meltdowns in UFC history that left everyone speechless, including the person who got kicked out. What really happened in those moments, and how did one fighter steal the entire press conference, despite not even having a meaningful fight on the card?
If you haven't seen the press conference, you've heard about it. Okay, don't go back and watch it. Watch this. Watch me recap it instead. I'll do it for you in 3 minutes. I'll save you a half hour, but I think you'll appreciate this more. If martial arts, you might find this interesting.
Chael Sonnen, always the mastermind, always thinking 3 steps ahead. Here he immediately hooks our attention, promising something better than watching the full chaotic footage. He's setting up for a masterclass in analysis, going beyond simple storytelling. It's perfectly designed for content, delivering focus, impact, and dripping with the raw energy that defines the UFC. He knows attention equals currency, and he's promising serious returns on our investment. To truly understand the genius or maybe madness of this particular press conference, we need crucial context. The UFC, now a global empire, wasn't always so widely accepted. In fact, its journey to mainstream legitimacy was a political battlefield. Remember those early days, the calls for bans, the critics who labeled it legalized violence? It was an uphill battle against resistance, but then a strange legal loophole changed everything. An unexpected justification, a reframing that redefined the sport's very essence. What was this secret weapon that allowed the UFC to break into even the most hostile markets?
And the UFC ultimately hired a firm that came in from a political action standpoint of arguing a law that had to do with art and arguing that the state could not interfere or stop somebody's expression of art.
This revelation offers critical insight into understanding the deeper mechanics of MMA. The UFC didn't just bulldoze its way into New York through pure force. It outsmarted the system by arguing that mixed martial arts was artistic expression. This wasn't about physical competition from a legal standpoint. It was creative communication. This subtle reframing completely changes how we should view everything that happens outside the cage. It's performance art. It's narrative building. It's a canvas for personal expression. This isn't just athletic competition, it's entertainment theater. A raw, unfiltered showcase of human drama. This legal foundation sets the conceptual framework for Chael's deep dive, validating the idea that press conferences are absolutely performance stages. And that, folks, is the key. The UFC is fundamentally performance. The fighters are performers. The octagon is their stage, and the press conferences are live theater. This goes beyond punches and submissions. It's about crafting perception, building character, controlling the narrative. This is where champions are made outside of competition. It's where legends are born. And it's where one man, Josh Hokit, decided to push the boundaries of performance art further than anyone had ever attempted. Did it work? The results speak for themselves.
Particularly at the press conferences. That's all they're doing is expressing themselves, right? That's all they're doing is body language and performing. So let's take a look at today's. Today's was a top 3 press conference of all time.
Now it was a press conference. Chael emphasizes the core principle. Press conferences are performance platforms. They're not just pre-fight Q&A sessions. They're extensions of the fight itself. This isn't about politeness or journalism. It's about messaging, psychological dominance, and capturing attention. For Chael to rank this particular event among the top 3 press conferences ever immediately signals its extraordinary nature. He's preparing us for something special, something that transcended typical fight promotion. He's telling us this went beyond conversation. It was a masterclass in strategic self-promotion. But who was this event supposed to spotlight? Every press conference has a main character, a central figure around whom the gravitational pull of media attention revolves. For this card, that main character was undoubtedly Ilia Topuria. The Matador was riding an incredible wave of momentum and already being crowned as the heir to Conor McGregor's throne. He wasn't just a champion, he was the future, the promotional face of the next era. This was his moment. This was his stage. Everyone knew it. Everyone expected it. But sometimes, even the brightest stars can be eclipsed by an unexpected disruption. Who would have the audacity to challenge the spotlight of the sport's rising superstar?
Who many say is the sport's biggest star. That, of course, is in the absence of Conor McGregor, but the experts are saying even with Conor McGregor, eventually, Ilia Topuria will be able to surpass him.
Chael paints the enormous pressure and expectation surrounding Ilia Topuria. He's not just a champion, he's a potential game changer, a fighter who possibly, just possibly, could surpass Conor McGregor's drawing power. This sets up the incredibly high stakes of Topuria's presence at the press conference. He came to solidify his position, to own the room, to show the world why he was the sport's premier attraction. This context makes Hokit's actions exponentially more audacious and impactful. Imagine having all that momentum, all that power, and then watching someone completely steal your thunder. How would you react? So Ilia Topuria, the champion, the guy everyone came to see, is sitting there. The cameras are rolling, the questions are ready. This is his moment, but then a wild card enters the equation. A guy with different plans, a different vision for how this art form should be expressed. Josh Hokit was supposed to face Derek Lewis, a solid opponent in his own right. Convention says you use this platform to sell that fight, build drama, trash talk your assigned opponent, but Hokit saw a different target, a much bigger target, a target that would shake the foundation of the sport. What kind of disruptor ignores his actual opponent for a bigger opportunity?
So, okay, great. We haven't had much Ilia. Ilia's at the press conference. This is kind of going to be an Ilia day, and then everybody else around it. And you would understand that he's the champion of the world and he's the main event. We would get that. Well, Josh Hokit has other plans, and Hokit's plan
was not to steal. Chael masterfully sets up the dominant narrative. This was Ilia's moment, the champion, the headliner, the biggest name. This creates the dramatic tension for Hokit's disruption. Hokit's different agenda immediately builds intrigue, since he's not just seeking attention, but actively working against the established script. The phrase "not to steal Ilia's shine" is brilliant misdirection, because that's exactly what he ended up doing, just indirectly. It shows Hokit's real target wasn't Ilia, but someone with even more star power. This strategic choice is a testament to his intelligence. Hokit wasn't interested in a standard promotional battle with Derek Lewis. That was small thinking. He saw a bigger prize, a more lucrative path. He set his sights directly on Alex Pereira, the man he believed was destined for championship gold. This wasn't just trash talk. It was strategic investment, a high-stakes bet on the future of the light heavyweight division. He wasn't building a fight, he was building his career in the most audacious way possible. He was betting everything on Pereira's rise. But what happens when your entire strategy depends on someone else winning a title? What if your whole plan falls apart if they lose?
His plan was to use his microphone time, which was supposed to be a venom against Derek Lewis, and Hokit's going, no. I don't need to build something with Derek Lewis. I already got it. I'm going to build it against Pereira. Now, the reason that is a calculated plan is Josh doesn't really want to fight.
This section reveals Hokit's strategic brilliance. He understood the economics of attention in the UFC fighting. Derek Lewis was a decent fight, but fighting Alex Pereira, especially a champion Pereira, was a massive fight. He correctly calculated that he already had the Lewis fight locked up, but the Pereira fight needed narrative foundation. Chael makes it clear this wasn't about personal beef, it was calculated career advancement. This wasn't about emotion. It was about business optimization. He's playing a sophisticated game and everyone else is just reacting. This wasn't just a call out, it was a statement of faith. Hokit wasn't just challenging Pereira, he was endorsing him. He was betting his career momentum on Pereira winning the light heavyweight title. The sheer boldness of this strategy is staggering. Think about risking your entire promotional trajectory, your biggest career opportunity on a future event that's completely outside your control. It's a gamble of epic proportions, a true high-risk, high-reward play. It shows a sophisticated understanding of the promotional landscape, a willingness to play chess while others are playing checkers. But how would Pereira, a man known for his calm demeanor and devastating power, react to being used as a pawn in someone else's game?
He wants to fight for the world championship. He is betting. He's putting everything in the basket of Pereira is going to win the world title. Like Josh Hokit's desire to fight Pereira and his motivation for Pereira goes up in flames if Pereira doesn't come out with the victory on the White House lawn. Okay.
But this is calculated strategy. Chael breaks down the incredible strategic complexity of Hokit's moves. This wasn't just confrontation, it was prophecy. Hokit's entire promotional investment was riding on Pereira winning his next fight. This shows a level of foresight and risk tolerance rarely seen. He's not just building beef, he's predicting a championship reign. The comparison to other events adds a layer of gravitas, emphasizing the magnitude of the moment. This section confirms Hokit's status as a master strategist, willing to bet big on his vision, but every chess player must anticipate their opponent's moves. Alex Pereira is a man of few words but tremendous power. He's disciplined, focused, and rarely gets distracted from his goals. He had a title fight coming up, a date with destiny. He wasn't about to let some contender derail his focus. His strategy was clear: ignore the provocateur, starve the beast of attention. Don't give Hokit the reaction he craves. It was a perfectly logical tactical decision, rooted in mental discipline and professionalism. But sometimes the best defense isn't enough when you're facing an aggressor who doesn't play by the rules. How do you stop a move that ignores your silence but keeps swinging?
Pereira decides when Hokit goes after him. Pereira decides, and it was very clear that he had calculated this ahead of time, knowing that this might happen. Pereira decided to handle it by saying, hey, I'm not going to respond to you, I'm not going to address you. And the reason is I have no reason to.
Pereira's decision to disengage was a highly calculated move, what most would consider the right strategy. He understood Hokit's game and chose to deny him the satisfaction of a response. His focus on his actual opponent, Jiri, was a testament to his professionalism and discipline. This section highlights the clash of strategies: Hokit's aggressive, narrative-driven offense versus Pereira's discipline-focused defense. It sets up why Hokit's relentless pressure was so effective. He directly countered Pereira's carefully planned avoidance. What happens when good advice just isn't enough? Pereira's advice was good, great even. Ignore the troll, don't feed the beast. It works 99% of the time, but Josh Hokit wasn't just any troll. He was a force of nature, a relentless storm of verbal aggression. He didn't care if Pereira responded. He didn't need engagement to keep attacking. He was playing a different game, a more advanced one. While Pereira was playing checkers, Hokit was moving pieces on a chessboard, anticipating every defensive move and escalating the pressure. He just wouldn't stop. He turned Pereira's silence into a stage for his own performance. How do you silence someone who thrives on being ignored?
And frankly, whoever gave Alex that advice, that it was good advice. That was a really good way to handle it. It did not work, but that doesn't mean the advice wasn't good. It just didn't work because Hokit was better than the advice. Hokit wasn't playing checkers. He was playing chess.
This is where Chael captures the essence of Hokit's genius. He was playing chess, not checkers. Pereira's disciplined silence, while theoretically sound, was exactly what Hokit needed to maintain his narrative dominance. Hokit wasn't seeking engagement, he was seeking coverage, attention, and an uninterrupted platform to build his call-out. He weaponized Pereira's non-response, turning a defensive strategy into an offensive tool for himself. It was a master class in psychological warfare, showing a sophisticated understanding of media dynamics, but even the most disciplined fighters have a breaking point. Here's the breakthrough moment that changes everything. Most people miss this because they're too busy looking for shortcuts. Real transformation requires sustained pressure. If you're not feeling resistance, you're not pushing hard enough. That principle right there is pure gold. When you apply this single concept, your trajectory shifts dramatically. Consistency paired with this approach is unstoppable. That's the reality nobody wants to share. Excellence isn't complex, it's just demanding. Stop creating barriers and implement this immediately. This separates elite performers from everyone else. It's not just effort, it's strategic effort combined with mental toughness. Focus on execution because that's where breakthroughs happen. This insight reveals the fundamental difference between average and extraordinary. The details matter because precision creates results. When you grasp this principle, everything transforms. It's a simple adjustment in thinking, but the consequences are enormous. This distinguishes top performers from the crowd. Most people grind hard, but they're missing this critical mental shift. Eliminate distractions, master this element, and watch your results explode.